Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is David Benjamin from HealthyWildFree.com. This is part 3 in Understanding Emotions and Their Connection to Health series here on YouTube. If you didn't see the first 2 videos, check those out below or on the side here. I'll make a playlist for it. If emotions were more understood in our world, I firmly believe that we would live in a harmonious, more healthy, happy environment, and people would be less afraid of engaging or interacting with each other, and they would also be less afraid of offending one another. Emotions and emotional intelligence is very closely linked to, once again, empathy and just simply understanding. And the less empathy someone has, essentially the more judgments they have. And if you're kind of like on either end of that scale, you have either more empathy or more judgments. And yeah, you might go a little bit back and forth in life, but overall, the goal is to shed your judgments and embrace empathy so that you can relate and you can have connection to human beings from all walks of life, all races, religions, colors, creeds, whatever it may be. That's the beauty of this experience, is we get to connect and unify with each other. And that's an important thing because a lot of wisdom and understanding comes from that experience. So I want to first paint the picture of emotions and the categories that they are connected to in our reality. So fear is a core sort of like negative emotion, and it's not negative, and don't think negative in the sense like, oh, it's bad. It's not bad, but it's negative in the sense of it's pessimistic, right? Whereas love, on the other hand, is positive or optimistic. So all emotions, and this is, I don't even know who did this work or where I learned this, but all emotions are sort of categorized into these 2 states. So example, with fear, you have grief, envy, bitterness, anger, jealousy, contempt, shame. These types of things would fall under fear. Anything that would make you feel down, sad, depressed, etc. That's a fear-based emotion. Love, on the other hand, gives you the beautiful experience of joy, empathy, compassion, positive bliss, all these things, empathy, all these things that give you a positive sort of euphoric feeling. So basically, the best way to understand the difference between fear or love-based emotions is to just simply get in tune with yourself and understand, how do I feel right now? If I feel more negative or down or suppressed, that's a fear-based emotion. If I feel uplifted or positive, that's a love-based emotion. So it's important to understand that on a day-to-day basis, all these emotions that we have will fall under those 2 categories. And the most important thing to understand is to not oppress or suppress your emotional states, right? Whatever they are. So if you have negative emotions, it's okay. You're a human being. You're going to have grief. You're going to have shame. You're going to have anger. You're going to have all of these things in life. But what's important to understand is that emotions, emotion is meant to move, cycle, flow through you. And if that emotion is not moving through you, it's getting stuck and it's creating stagnancy within you. That's the first thing to understand. So for example, anger. Say something happened to you. Say someone attacked you physically, they punched you in the face, say you were sexually abused, say there was some sort of trauma that you experienced, that you went through, and you are rightfully so, you have the right to be angry. You have the right to be mad, right? You were wronged. Someone hurt you. You're going to feel that, you're going to express that. And it is okay to feel that anger. It is okay to express that anger. It is okay to allow that to flow through you. The challenge comes when you feel anger or shame or whatever it is, and you embrace and embody that as a part of your being. Here's what I mean. Shame or anger, whatever it may be. It doesn't even matter what the negative or fear-based emotion is. You experience something and then you embrace this emotion, and instead of that emotion flowing through you and out of you, or through you and beside you, or through you and gone, because it's an emotion, it has a timeline in your body and in your being, and I'll talk more about the timeline in a minute, we let that emotion get caught in us. So instead of being an emotion, it's more of a belief. So that emotion, which was meant to flow through and be energy, becomes more of a belief, and then it turns into a vow that we make to ourselves. So a promise like, I'll never blank again, I'll never whatever, and then judgment comes along with that. I'll, them, this, that, judge, and you put up all these walls and shields, and you just put yourself in this box, and you back into this corner of misunderstanding and misalignment and fear. You're literally backing into the corner of fear instead of being brave and embodying and stepping into your greatness and stepping into the challenge of understanding the wisdom of that emotion and understanding the wisdom of that experience and understanding the purpose of your pain. The purpose of your pain is so impactful. The purpose of your pain is so important. The purpose of your pain has meaning. The purpose of your pain is there to learn from. And if we refuse to learn from those experiences and come out ahead and on top in a positive manner, we just retract into fear. And when we retract into fear, what we are doing is shrinking. And when we shrink, we don't play big, we play small. When we play small, we're limiting our own greatness. So this is really connected to a large degree the amount of greatness that you have as a being inherently, and expressing that greatness or that potential to the world, whatever that is, however that manifests or expresses itself. Whether it's in relationships, whether it's in a business or a venture that you start, whether it's in your creative capacity, whatever it is. So if you want to take these experiences of fear and love in your life and benefit from the richness of them, you have to understand that those negative experiences, that those pains, those traumas, those fear-based experiences weren't meant for you to step back into that more. Because you're either stepping backwards or you're stepping forwards. Or you're standing right where you are. And that's sort of the fight, flight, freeze response. And that's a whole other video that I'll get into later. But what's important to understand is that with fear and with love, with fear you're stepping back, with love you're moving forward. If I say to you, I love you, what am I doing? Am I going like this? Am I turning my back and running away? Or am I like, I love you, hello, and I'm bringing myself to you, right? So that's the difference between fear and love. Fear is retreating, love is moving forward. And it doesn't mean you move forward to your abuser. It doesn't mean you move forward to someone that wronged you over and over again. It doesn't mean you put yourself in a state of perpetual abuse. That's not what that means. It doesn't mean you just go to the narcissist and say, hey, I'm yours, I love you. It doesn't mean that. It means that you're moving forward in your life, and you're moving forward in your character, and you're moving forward in your wisdom, and you're moving forward through these experiences to grow through them. So it's really crucial to understand that fear and love are what emotions are, the umbrella of the emotions that we experience fall under the umbrella of fear and love, and those negative or fear-based experiences will cause us to contract when really it is our challenge for our growth and our greatness to expand through those experiences, not to contract through them. So let me give you an example. If you went through something incredibly painful and you choose to subscribe to the theory of fear, and you choose to subscribe to the anger, the hate, the shame, the guilt, the negative emotions that you experienced, you take those emotions and you attach those labels to your body. I am ashamed. I am angry. I am bitter. I am mad. You literally, quite literally, put these labels on your body and carry that burden with you wherever you go. So you become heavy. You literally, quite literally become heavy, and that could manifest in the physical form of obesity or the emotional form of depression, or both, or even more. Isn't this beautiful? The world of emotions has so much depth. So you can embrace that and you can walk with that in your life, but that's going to be the narrative that you create for yourself. So that narrative is fear, that narrative is all these negative things, and then it essentially puts these shades on your eyes and causes you to view the world through that lens. So you could walk into someone's life, and you could be a single man or a single woman, and you could really, really genuinely like them. In fact, you could see yourself loving them, but you're carrying shame, but you're carrying guilt, but you're carrying anger, but you're carrying all these things from a past relationship that you're now projecting onto your current partner or potential partner through the vision that is skewed. That's operating through fear. Operating through love. Ooh, I love operating through love. I'm getting goosebumps just saying the word love. Operating through love is a completely different experience. Operating through love allows you to still have that experience of pain and trauma and all of these things, but see that experience through the eyes and the heart of love. What are the eyes and heart of love? What is that? That is the eyes of compassion and empathy. If you've been wronged, betrayed, hurt, backstabbed, cheated on, attacked physically, had money taken from you, whatever it was, if you've had all these experiences and you view those through the eyes of love, you view those people that hurt you, that oppressed you, as human beings with hearts. There's a very powerful story that illustrates this narrative very well, and it actually comes from the film The Shack, and I highly recommend you watch the film The Shack. I think it's on I don't know if it's on Netflix, it might be on HBO Max or Hulu or Amazon Prime, one of those. It's a film about a guy, and he takes his family camping. And he has 2 daughters, I think, in the film. And in the film, his daughter goes missing. And his daughter is young. She's 8 years old, something like that. And she goes missing, and they look for his daughter. They cannot find her. And they find a dress with blood on it, and that's literally all they find. So it turns out there was a sexual predator in the area, and they think it was this sexual predator. And come to find out later, it actually was. So this man sexually abused and then killed his daughter. Young daughter, right? So as a father, imagine the anger, the guilt, all these things that you would experience, because the guilt would be, I didn't protect my daughter. The anger would be, I want to kill that mother. You would literally kill someone that did that to your child. And he goes through this story in this film where essentially angels come to him because he's so numb to life, and he's so caught in this mind frame of I didn't protect my daughter, there's no point of living, all this kind of stuff. So long story short, these angels come to him, and he has this experience with them, and they show him a vision of this child that is being abused. And they basically ask him, they say, would you, judge this child? And he goes, of course not, that's a child. And he became angry that someone would even ask if he would judge a child that was being abused. And they said, well, that's your father. And he's it took him off guard, because the vision they showed was of his father being abused as a child. And him as an adult was someone who judged his father because his father abused him. And because his father abused him, he judged his father. When his father was abused, and he didn't know that, he still judged his father. So his lens or his perspective of judgment was changed simply because he didn't understand the person that he was judging had experienced the same pain and trauma, and they didn't know any better. So they were creating this experience that they experienced that for them was a part of normal childhood, even though it's not healthy. So he learned to judge his father, and then when that happened to his daughter, he was judging and creating all of this on himself because he hadn't dealt with the trauma with his father that he was then experiencing when something happened to his child that he wasn't there to protect them from. It's a very powerful story, and I probably chopped it a little worse than the film. The film is obviously a lot better at narrating that. But my point is this. The eyes of judgment and the eyes of love are simply 2 different sets of eyes. And we get to view ourselves through the eyes of judgment, fear, or the eyes of love. And we get to view the world through the eyes of judgment or through the eyes of love and empathy. It is our choice, but it starts from within. So subscribing to the ideas of fear, we can feel and experience those emotions. I'm not negating those experiences in your life. But if they have a timeline longer than what they need to be residing in your body for, that's where the vows, the judgments, the negative beliefs, and all these things fester. And then you start perceiving the world is all this negativity, hate, bitterness, and all these things, and that's what you project on the world because that's what you've chosen to believe and subscribe to. So I challenge you to look at the world through the eyes of love by first looking at yourself in the mirror through the eyes of love, through the eyes of compassion, through the eyes of empathy. Because when you do that, when you have the grace and the dignity and the harmony with yourself to give that gift to yourself, you can heal those pains and those traumas in you, and you can allow those experiences to not just sit in your body as pain, but then become crystallized as wisdom. And then you get to take that wisdom with you wherever you go, and that wisdom is developed in the form of compassion and empathy. And then people that either give that pain or that trauma to the world, or that you experience that with again, you come at it with a completely different angle, and it doesn't affect you as much. Another last thing I'll add, because this video is now 15 minutes and I can go on and on forever with these things. A popular bishop by the name of T.D. Jakes, amazing speaker. If you haven't seen his work, I highly recommend T.D. Jakes. He's all over YouTube. If you're a Christian, you'll love him. If not, you might not, but I don't care. Still watch him to just see how he communicates and just to hear some lessons that he shares, because he has incredibly powerful stories and lessons within his stories, obviously linked to the Bible, but whatever, your choice. So he had this one story that he shared that I thought was incredibly powerful. Well, it wasn't a story, it's just it's an idea. The idea is that he shared that stuck with me was the level of offense that you can handle directly correlates to the amount of responsibility you are given, which then correlates with the amount of blessings that you have in your life. I'm going to say it one more time. The amount of the level of offense that you can handle is correlated to the amount of responsibility you can handle, which is correlated to the amount of blessings you have in your life. So if you're offended easily, your level of responsibility will be very small. If it takes a lot to offend you, if you can come at me and call me all types of names and slurs and just go on, and I'm like, I love you, it's not gonna work. And that level of offense of not getting offended, and it takes like way more to offend me, is going to grant me responsibility in my life, because I am not focused on petty surface level things. I'm not focused on offenses, and I'm not looking to be offended. And even if I am offended, I can heal and forgive and love beyond that. So my ability to maintain and handle responsibility in my life is broadened, and with that, my blessings and the gifts that show up in my life in the form of health, wealth, and love are expanded, because my capacity as a human being has expanded in my ability to connect and be empathetic towards the human condition and towards humans in general, and to just not take up an offense. Oftentimes, more often than not, it's a choice to take up an offense, and that choice to take up an offense and be overly sensitive to people shows that you don't have a lot of emotional intelligence and that you're not that empathetic to people. Because if you're easily offended, you don't have a lot of empathy for people, because it's a choice. It's a choice to get offended. And I'm not saying it's not a choice for others to be offensive, because that's obviously a choice too. It's the responsibility of both. But it's very important to understand that it's a choice to be offended, and the less you get offended in life, the easier it will be, and the more opportunities you'll have, and you will be very, very blessed and rewarded for it in a health, wealth, and love scenario. So that's really it for this video. The main messages of this video is understand that fear and love are the two main emotions, and that all emotions are under those umbrellas. And if you want to operate in love, understand the fear-based emotions and understand that the pain that you've experienced in your life are teachers, and there's learning lessons in that. And when you learn that, you generate wisdom, which donates itself to love and positivity and all the things that condition your life for health, wealth, and love, and all the good positive things in life. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned one or two things from it. If you learned something, whatever you learned, leave it as a comment below. I want to hear what you learned, because when I hear what you learned, it inspires me to share more, and it inspires me to learn more myself. I can learn from you just as much as you can learn from me. So leave what you learned before, or what you want to add to the conversation, or what you like or didn't like about this video. Please give me feedback. Please like the video, subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications, and check out the links below. I'll link up the emotions. Ow, got something in my eye. The emotions that are linked under fear and love, so you can understand and see them more clearly. So I'll link up a chart below that illustrates that very nicely on healthywildfree.com. So check that out below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing day. Bye.